Hello, and welcome to our Cancer Wellness Speaker Series. My name is Lori Ball, an ovarian cancer survivor and the founder of Faith and Gratitude. Faith and Gratitude is a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering, educating, and inspiring cancer patients. At Faith and Gratitude, we believe that healing goes far beyond medical treatment. Our mission is to provide hope, resources, and support that nurture the mind, body, and spirit. Through our Cancer Wellness Speaker Series, we bring trusted holistic providers, wellness experts, and inspiring voices from the cancer community directly to you, meeting you wherever you are on your journey. We're thrilled to have you here and grateful to be part of your path toward wellness. I am honored to welcome today's guest, Sylvie Beljanski. Sylvie is a French attorney turned health advocate, author, and entrepreneur. She continues her family's legacy as a leader in integrative health and cancer research. She is the founder and president of the Beljanski Foundation, a nonprofit advancing natural approaches to cancer, and CEO of Maison Beljanski, a global dietary supplement company. Author of Winning the War on Cancer, host of the Beljanski Cancer Talk Show, and producer of the Beljanski Integrative Cancer Conference, Sylvie is a sought-after speaker worldwide, educating audiences on scientific breakthroughs in holistic and integrative medicine. Her work is deeply personal. It tells the story of her father's groundbreaking scientific research and her own journey to continue his mission. At its heart, this story is about hope, resilience, and the possibility of a more integrative approach to healing. Sylvie, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome you today.
Hello, Laurie, and thank you for having me.
So our first question for Sylvie, your book is just not about science. It's about family, legacy, and love. Tell us about your father. Who was he to you, and what values did he instill in you?
I would say that for a long time my father was a stranger. To me, he was a scientist, such a devoted scientist that he could not extend himself to really be present for his family. So I saw him as a very a man with a tremendous work ethic, but devoured by his passion for his work. I saw also his integrity, his willingness to redo and redo and redo the experiments to be absolutely sure of his results before publishing anything. And I saw the joy that was coming with the good results and the ability to make a difference. But all that was kind of intellectual knowledge, and I did not have a really emotional connection, and I never felt that my father was close to me until I came to him and did really the effort of trying to understand him, and when the time came to help him.
Sylvie, tell us a little bit about your father's background.
So my father had a very interesting background. He grew up in a family of really peasants in Serbia, what is now Serbia, and he was the first one in his family to go to school. His mother and his sisters were seamstress and were sewing at night to pay enough for the tuition and to send him to school. And he was milking the cows in the morning before going to school, and he always paid. My father, was not interested in fancy clothes and so on, but he always had an extra pair of shoes because he had been so traumatized as a little boy, just having to walk to school sometimes in the snow without having a good pair of shoes. That stayed with him. So he comes from this very humble origin, and he back in the 50s, there was no university of biology in Serbia for students to complete their PhD. So the rich students who were able to afford a fur coat were sent to Moscow, and the poor students were sent to Paris. And that's how my father arrived in Paris without learning French, but he very quickly adapted. He joined the Sorbonne. He got his PhD in molecular biology, and then he was able to join the Pasteur Institute, which is a French equivalent of NIH, National Institute of Health. And so he is coming from a very, let's say, conventional, the mecca of conventional research and science, but he was always an outsider. And I believe that his background, I mean, as a little boy living in the countryside, connected him all his life with the environment in a way the other PhDs maybe are not, and led him to look into nature to find solutions where others were not even thinking of looking.
And about what age do you think you were when you realized the impact that your father was making?
I realized that as a teenager, because he was helping so many people suffering with cancer. There was an ongoing line of people coming. First they were crying, they had been diagnosed with cancer, and then they had this conversation with my parents. They were leaving with some packages, and then they were coming back 2 months, 3 months later with flowers, chocolates. So it was an ongoing circus of people in the living room. And I was growing up as a little brat. I was pretty resentful of those strangers having more, being more present in my parents' lives than my little brother and myself were. Sometimes I felt, oh, if only I could be a bacteria, maybe they would look at me and pay attention to me. But it's only later on that I really realized the value of what they were doing and the value of their work. I would say the definitive moment for me was at my father's funerals, when all those people came to me and told me, you know, without your father, I would not be here. I would never have been able to walk my daughter down the aisle. I would have never seen my grandchildren. And that's where I really understood that this was the opportunity to change lives.
That's beautiful. In retrospect, it's beautiful. So, Sylvie, your journey hasn't always been easy. What sustained you during the most challenging times? Do you think it was all of that reflection for people coming to talk to you following or during his funeral?
I think there were a number of really difficult times. The definitive, I mean, the moment where everything changed was when I learned over the phone, because I was working as a foreign legal associate. I went to law school in France. I'm technically a French lawyer, even I have not practiced for over 30 years. That's the degree I have. So I was working as a foreign legal associate in a New York law firm, and with the time difference, sometimes in the morning, twice a week, I was calling my parents, and I was calling my father at the laboratory. And on October 9, 1996, the phone was ringing at my father's laboratory, and was not usual because he was like a lab rat. I mean, he was always in the laboratory. And so I decided to call my mom at the apartment, and I have a voice answering like that. And I said, Mom? And the voice said, your mother is under arrest. You cannot speak to her. So I immediately said, I am her lawyer. I want to speak to my client. And then there was an hesitation, and he said, I give you 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, I had to learn that both of my parents had been arrested. My mom had absolutely no idea why, what kind of charges were against them. But it seemed like pretty serious. They were putting the apartment upside down, looking for God knows what. And I said, okay, I want to speak to the officer again. And I said, well, I am the lawyer, I am in charge of the legal defense, and I want to have access to all the documents. I am in New York. I will, within 2 hours, I will give you the name of one of my colleagues to represent, actually, my mother and my father. And that's how it all started for me, from like learning both of my parents were arrested. And I took it from there. And the more I was looking at the legal files, the more fishy it was, because clearly it was not about bringing people to justice. They came up with a laundry list of things that, I mean, I knew my parents had not done. I mean, knowing my parents, it just did not make sense. And then quickly I realized that it was just about destroying evidence. And they would not give my father his day in court also. They would not respect the due process. So really, it seems like it was worth digging and understanding what was motivating such abnormal action from the government.
So that is a great segue to our next question. So for our listeners who may be new to your work, can you gently, in layman's terms, explain the core ideas behind your dad's research, and what does selectively targeting cancer cells mean?
Okay. So my father developed his anti-cancer approach back in the 60s, 70s. And the 60s is a decade where Watson and Crick brought to the world the discovery of the structure of the DNA, the famous double helix. And that generated such a great, it was such a breakthrough in the scientific world that all the scientists considered that the future of science and medicine had to be genetic. And they immediately envisioned a lot of money to be done with a lot of patents that would target this modification and that modification of the DNA. And my father was one of the first scientists to say, yes, there can be genetic mutations that trigger cancer. But if everything was genetic, there would be a stable number of cancer. What we see is that the number of cancer is increasing. So there must be something, probably in the environment, that is actually inducing a modification and a mutation at the level of the DNA. And then he was able to observe that indeed, cancer DNA, when a cell turns cancerous, the DNA of that cell, instead of looking like a beautiful double helix, is modified. And the two strands are not kept together anymore by the hydrogen bonds, but the hydrogen bonds break. And then there is kind of distortion and big loops between the two strands of the DNA. And then that's a lot of space for toxins to get there, and they get in contact with duplication sites. And then that induces a cycle where duplication gets enhanced, increased, and then you have those big tumors that you do not see in healthy cells. So from there, he got the idea to screen, really, that was really new at the time, to screen a number of molecules to see if they would create this destabilization of the DNA. And he called that the oncotest. And he saw that there were, molecules that he called carcinogens that induce this kind of destabilization, molecules which have no effect on either cancer DNA or healthy DNA, molecules that he called toxics that totally inhibit the duplication of cancer DNA, which is great, but also inhibit the duplication of healthy DNA, then there is no possible life. And then he found a number of molecules, actually two, which are able to inhibit selectively the duplication of cancer DNA and have no effect on healthy DNA. So that's perfect anti-cancer substances because they inhibit cancer cells, they recognize cancer cells wherever they are located, so you stop thinking in terms of ovarian, pancreatic, prostate cancer, it doesn't matter anymore, it just destabilized cells. And because they are selective, they do not touch healthy cells, which means no toxicity, no side effect. And if you do not have any destabilized cell in your body, you are going to naturally eliminate the product in a matter of hours. So, kind of perfect anti-cancer treatment for everybody. And when you look actually under the microscope, you can see that those plant extracts that he discovered, Paupera and Revolfia vomitoria, are both naturally fluorescent. The extract is naturally fluorescent. So you can see under UV light, it's really striking, how the fluorescence remains outside the healthy cells and really is able to invade cancerous cells. And you can see under UV light that the fluorescence is not going anywhere else. It's really targeting those cancerous cells. So my father became extremely successful back in the 80s, I would say. He was a very charismatic man. He was speaking a lot of conferences and a lot of doctors, French doctors. I mean, that was, seemed to be to them to be the solution to so many patients. One-fits-all approach to cancer with no toxicity. So my father got a lot of followers and in the medical community. And then now we are in the 90s, and François Mitterrand, the former French president, got diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer. And he was sick from his first term. Terms were 7 years at the time, but there was no social media at the time, and everything was kept secret during the first term and until the re-election. But at the beginning of the second term, I mean, the president was so sick, the cat got out of the bag. And I mean, everybody knew that the president was sick. So the official diagnosis was that president was not going to be able to finish his second term, and that should prepare the country for early election. But Mitterrand had a mistress. It's a French story. And, and the mistress knew about one of those good doctors who had good results, especially on prostate cancer, by using my father's products. And that's how Mitterrand started to take the products, and against all odds, got better and better. And because he was the president, I mean, it was for the country to see. And then a lot of questions. How come natural products can do better than the official diagnosis and offer some other solutions? And that really created drama and soap opera at the French Minister of Health. And as soon as Mitterrand finally passed away, and he was able to finish his second term, but as soon as he passed away, they sent a SWAT team to arrest my parents and destroy everything. Destroy everything. Seized all the products. They went to the sick people houses. They seized their treatments from their home, from their nightstands. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
There were hundreds of people who took the streets of Paris and other big cities of France, and they were holding signs, "We want the Beljanski products, effective and non-toxic." But the press did not even report about those marches.
So that was when? What year was that?
So the arrest was October 96, so those marches were beginning, let's say, spring 97. Yeah. And the French government, I mean, the justice, they just did nothing to instruct the case. And my father was like, please let me have my day in court, and he believes that it would be the opportunity for him to clear his name, but that did not come, never came actually. And at the time of my father's arrest, something totally contrary to due process happened. In France, when you are under arrest, you are supposed to be brought kind of within a matter of hours before a judge who is going to decide if the charges are serious and if you are going to be sent to house arrest or whatever. But in the case of my father, instead of bringing him before a judge right away, as they should have, they told my father, well, it's too late. You are going to spend the night in the laboratory, and we will bring you tomorrow to see the judge. And they also brought a team of people dressed like if they were going to the moon. That's what the report I got. And they said they were looking for plutonium, and they spread some kind of toxic gas everywhere. First, you don't, toxic gas and plutonium don't match. then the allegation of plutonium did not make sense. Then looking at the legal file, there was no trace of any allegation of plutonium or people coming to spread whatever. We never knew what they had spread, but 2 months later, my father was diagnosed with advanced myeloid leukemia. And there was nothing, I mean, and his own products were no longer available to him. The products that he had spent his lifetime developing were taken away from him at the time, at the moment he needed them.
He needed them most.
Yeah.
So then you became involved because of all these emotions, probably the first emotion being anger that this happened to your parents.
Yes,
Okay.
But when you said you first became involved, so I became involved on the first legal defense. Yes, there was all those emotions, but I channeled them into legal action. And it was very frustrating for me because the judge refused to take any action. So at some point, my father's health was faltering, and he was like, is there anything we can do, anything you can think of? And I said, Dad, the only thing I can think of to go above the judge is to go to the European Court of Human Rights. And my father said, I want you to do so. I was like, oh, I've never done that. But I promised we would. So I filed to sue the French government, and we took the case to the European Court of Human Rights, which is in Strasbourg. I did not, plead myself. I wrote the brief, but I gave that to another lawyer to represent my father. And we won an unanimous case because the French government would rather lose the case than explain what they had done and why they had done it. And then I learned that the rationale for them not defending the case, that was what they had done was classified as secret defense. So this research was classified as research defense, secret defense.
So, in essence, to those who are wondering, what does that mean? Does that mean that it was sealed?
Exactly. What they wanted was not only the man to disappear, but this knowledge to disappear. And that's when I understood that that was the goal. That I was like, no. I grew up seeing how much it can, how many people can be helped with this. I don't know exactly what is this, but I am not going to allow that to disappear. I am going to find out, I am going to continue to make it available, and I am going to do my best to clear my father's name, which is, by the way, also my name.
Right.
And I was not going to walk through life with a name which was, entitled, marked with shame or some having any wrongdoing, especially knowing how proud and the integrity of my parents and the values that I grew up with. All that was a total mismatch. And I said, no, it's not happening. I have to do something else. If there is nobody else, maybe I am the right person at the right place in the United States of America at the right moment.
After that, after your father passes and you're faced with all of this, you have no resources. You don't have his files. You don't have his research.
No.
You started at a point where it was literally a blank slate. You knew that there was something he was giving these patients. They were getting much better, if not improving to the point of health again, good health again. How did you begin that process when you didn't have the resources, you didn't have...
Well, I was very lucky that my mom had been working with my father for 30-something years. She has been, his laboratory help for over 30 years. So and she was a very intelligent woman, so she was doing much more. She was also a collaborator more than just, help in the laboratory. And she passed on to me a lot of information, explanations, a number of slides to show. There was no more laboratory, but she gave me all those pictures to understand, to visualize, and she was extremely patient to explain to me and to answer really thoroughly all of my questions. And then in 1999, a year after my father's passing, I decided to let the doctors who had been working with my father know that I was going to continue with their help and their support. And I invited them to New York. I created a little seminar, and I really asked them to share with me their experience as a doctor, and how to use the product, was there any side effects, and what they had observed. And I got all this support from so many people who really came out of nowhere, who did not know me, but just they believed with me that this was bigger than us and needed to, in some way, in some shape, this knowledge had to survive.
So now that began the ball rolling for you in a very positive way.
A lot of pressure, because all those people were, they were counting on me to do something, whatever, but do something, and a lot of support at the same time. But failure was definitely not an option.
But did your research, sort of a chapter 2 in the whole legacy, did your research take you to the jungle? I think I read that, because you yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, after I got a truckload of information to digest, and the next step was to make the products available. And I had to source them. So yes, I went to South America, to Brazil and Bolivia and Colombia to source the famous pau pera, which is a tree only growing in the Amazon rainforest. And yes, that was kind of an experience, because I was with those big guys with their axes, because you remove you only use the bark of the tree, which is wonderful when you think of the sustainability of the project and the fact that you are teaching those people in the Amazon to take care of their trees, and rather than, now they have an incentive to take care of the tree, and rather than cutting it and plant soy. So I was working with those guys, hoping they were going to make good use of their axes and nothing wrong would happen to me. And nothing did. I mean, this story, think of everything that could have gone wrong, and nothing did. And even, I believe, even those guys in the Amazon, they did not speak English. We could not communicate. But I believe they had some sense that what they were doing was important. Maybe not so much for humanity, but at least for themselves was important. And they took actually good care of me. And I came back, out of the Amazon rainforest like it was going to hell, and come back, really.
That is so inspiring. I think just from my point of view, just having such a love for your father, and to carry on such a legacy of putting yourself potentially in harm's way, but you did it, sort of like you said, from hell to hell and back. You did it. So you go to the Amazon and you source the materials. Now you have the source, right? So you have a lifeline to that. So then take us then from that, you're able to source, to the manufacturing process, and then to where we now are able to bring it to the community. How does that look?
Well, again, my mother was a great help, and we were able to recover a number of documentation from the manufacturers, from my father's manufacturers in France, who also came out of nowhere to reach out to me and share to me the manufacturing process. And then I was able to bring that to some American manufacturer, and the manufacturing has been totally outsourced to companies who are doing that, are equipped for doing that. This is not something you can do in your kitchen. I mean, it's really big machines, and then there is quality control, and you have to make sure that the extract is standardized with the same amount of flavoperine, which is a biomarker for paupera extract, than what my father was doing. So I was able to retrieve all the quality control documents and make that to good use now with the modern way of working, extracting, controlling, and everything is now done according to GMP and as it should.
So now what you're seeing here in the United States, where people are now learning more about these two plant extracts.
Yes.
Are you seeing where oncology patients are coming to maybe do your treatments in conjunction with a standard of care situation that they might be in? Or do you feel that there's an either or do you think there could be a combination effect that might be, that a lot of these patients might feel that would be the way they should maybe initially go?
So I am not a doctor, and I don't see patients, and I don't recommend treatments. But I have created a foundation, a 501c3 here in New York, which is funding research. The research is done at academic institutions. Over the years, we have worked with Columbia University, with Kansas University Medical Center, with Cancer Treatment Centers of America, with Nanjing University. And all this research has been led to beautiful results and to peer-reviewed publications. So what I am doing is speak on behalf of the foundation and present the research. And when I present, as very often, there is a number of people who have been taking the products and are spontaneously offering testimonials. And over the 30 years now I've been involved, I have seen it all. People telling me, I just got diagnosed, I did not know what to expect before coming here, but I love your presentation, and yes, I want to learn more. And do you have a doctor that can, take care of me? I've seen people telling me, I am started chemotherapy 3 months ago, it make me sick. Can I use your products in conjunction with the chemotherapy? I have children, I want to live, and I want to put all the chances I can. And what the doctor is recommending, what you are recommending, what my nutritionist is recommending, what my mother-in-law is recommending, I will do it all. You have people saying, my body is a temple, and I am not going to put anything toxic in it. And I know that if I put anything toxic, that will actually prevent me to heal. And this is also very commendable, and if your body is telling you such a thing, believe you have to listen to your body. I have seen people telling me, well, I have had cancer, Cancer is now gone, but I am afraid it comes back. My doctor is not offering me anything now because the cancer is gone. Is there anything I can take in order to limit the risk it will come back? And then I have people telling me, I don't have cancer, I never had cancer, but everybody in my family has cancer. All the women have breast cancer in the family. Is there anything I can do to make sure that I am able to fight the odds? And that this request, I mean, from people is what really has shaped the strategy for research. And what we have done is to confirm my father's discovery that those plant extracts, the paupera and the purified Revolvia, this is important to say that because we are removing completely the reserpine from the Revolvia extract. So it's not the usual Revolvia extract as known in Ayurvedic tradition. It's a purified Revolvia, which is reserpine-free. So those two plant extracts have been strategically studied on different kinds of cancer cells, different stages of cancer, from inflammation to full-blown cancer to advanced cancers that do not respond to hormonal treatment, for example, in the case of prostate cancer. And now we are studying the effect on cancer stem cells. And that's the current graal, I would say, of scientific research, and we have beautiful, exciting results.
And that's important for our listeners to know because traditional treatment of chemotherapy radiation is unable to target the stem cell.
Yes,
so this is why
absolutely.
this is so potent and so important for people to understand that.
Yeah.
So we could be going through standard of care, chemotherapy, radiation, and ring the bell. It's such a symbol of being done with treatment, but then all of a sudden 3 months, 6 months, and it recurred. So that's why these plant extracts are so important for us to learn more about.
Yeah, and I would like to add also that we have confirmed the synergy of action between those plant extracts and chemotherapies. And that's really, really important also for people to understand that not only they can take both, but there will a positive addition in taking both together.
It's a complement. It can be complementary.
Exactly. My father had observed that already with chemotherapies of the 80s, and we were able to redo that with chemotherapies of today. And so we had a publication on paupera and carboplatin on ovarian cancer, and with gemcitabine for pancreatic cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. All positive.
Yeah, and every time we have the mechanism of action. So it's not just, an observation, it's also a scientific explanation.
This is about the resiliency of you. And I know we touched on it a couple of times, but what has this journey taught you about perseverance and how to stay grounded and hopeful, not just for yourself, but for others, maybe in your organization and to the cancer community?
If you are not resilient, it's not going to happen. So, I mean, resilience is not an option.
But it's not an option.
No, it's the only way to go. I would say that my comfort zone now is pushing the odds. And I actually love it.
Good. So looking ahead, what excites you most about the future not only of Beljanski's research, but maybe the research of cancer as a whole?
Well, I would say that this new development about cancer stem cells is extremely promising. There are more and more cancers. The good news is that there are more and more cancer survivors. And all those people are in fear that the cancer could come back. And so when you have some little plant extracts without toxicity, without side effects, which have demonstrated in the lab and including in animal studies, the ability to inhibit the growth of cancer stem cells and avoid the development of metastasis, why on earth would not you look at this approach on day one of diagnosis? And we have been able to do the research now on ovarian cancer, on pancreatic cancer. We are just wrapping up a beautiful study on breast cancer stem cells have been injected in mice. And you can see that the mice who have just received the breast cancer stem cells are developing metastasis like crazy. But the mice who have received the breast cancer stem cells plus a mix of Paupera, Revolvia, and golden green tea, they have zero metastasis in that group, and the odds of survival are much, much better than in the other group. So we are wrapping up this research. I believe the publication is going to come soon now, and we are already looking to fund the next round of research, which is going to be on prostate cancer stem cells. Ladies first, but then I mean everybody should benefit of this approach again.
Yeah, thank you so much for that explanation, but also for what you're doing. I mean, it's just something that I feel is so. It's for me when I first met you, when I first learned of your research, which was really not that long ago, within the past 18 months. It's just opened my eyes to the hopefulness of if you are to be diagnosed, you shouldn't recoil in fear. Just kind of look at all of your options and the research.
You mentioned fear, and unfortunately, I believe that's what governments want to, and not just the French or the American, but governments associated with pharmaceutical companies. That's what they want to instill in us when we think of cancer. And I believe the reason why my father's life was destroyed and they attempted to destroy also his work is that there was this dimension of hope that he was bringing to people, and that was a shift of paradigm. And also, of course, I mean, if there are a lot of people moving to little natural approach, and that's a loss of revenue for pharmaceutical companies. But it's also, they are not the answer. Yeah. If they are not the answer, they don't like it.
No, it doesn't work in their system.
Exactly.
It just does not work in their system. So do you feel that the world is embracing more of an integrative approach to cancer treatment?
I think more. I think after the pandemic, a lot of people have seen that the healthcare at the government level comes with a certain amount of manipulation and lies, and there has been worldwide a loss of trust, and people wondering if they are not on their own, and if they should not take care of themselves in a more informed way and do their own research before doing everything the doctor is saying the way the doctor is saying.
Okay, Sylvie, your book, Winning the War on Cancer, what does that mean?
So the book is called Winning the War on Cancer, the Epic Journey Towards a Natural Cure. And I chose this title as a reference of the war on cancer, the law that was signed by Nixon in 1971. So that's 55 years ago now. And it's kind of ironic that we have not made much progress conventionally on winning the war on cancer. So if the number of cancer is increasing, keeps increasing, creeping up, maybe it means that this war on cancer, as intended by the government in the 70s, with some specific recommendation and area for investment, was not the right way to do it. And it's time to look at something else. And why not a natural cure?
And why not a natural cure? I love that. So if your father were sitting here today, what do you think he would feel seeing how far this journey has come?
I think you would be surprised because, again, we were a little bit strangers, so he did not believe so much in me. He did not know me well, I believe. He did not take the time to know me.
Because he was busy.
Because he was busy saving people from cancer. So I think he would be surprised. He would be, of course, pleasantly surprised. I think he would get a little bit emotional for 2.5 minutes, and then he would come up with a laundry list of things I have not done yet and should do. Yeah.
Okay, so and finally, for someone listening today who may be facing cancer right now, what message would you want to leave them with?
Oh, I think you summarized it very well by speaking of hope and resilience, and that's exactly what all this story is about. I mean, my own journey and what this research is providing to people. It's hope. And at the end of my conferences, I keep saying to people, those little plant extracts are going to act at the cellular level. They are going to help you at the cellular level. They are going to give you time. Now, the big question is, what do you do with this time? We are more than cells. We are body, mind. We have to take the time to understand why the cancer came in the first place, what our body is telling us by becoming sick, and what is the message we have to receive, and what do we have to change in our life to fully heal. There is a difference between destroying cancer cells and healing from cancer. And conventional treatment by cutting, poisoning, radiating is not going to do that. So the little plant extracts are acting in a much more gentle way, but they are not going to do all the work. You still have to take ownership of your life, of your thoughts, of your lifestyle, and receive the message of cancer.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that in my own diagnosis 10 years ago, that it was a lesson. There was something underlying a lesson. The experience was going to help me to learn about that. And I totally embraced the process just so I could just really reiterate to other people and just to help other people through their diagnosis, through my experience. So, okay, Sylvie Beljanski, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your heart, for your research, and for carrying on your father's your family's legacy. It's been such an honor to have you here today. I feel like, me finding your conference last year, learning so much about you and what your organizations are doing is for the betterment of all of us, not just for the cancer community, but for us, meaning humanity. Sylvie's book, Winning the War on Cancer, it offers both a scientific perspective and a deeply human one. This book can be purchased through the beljanski.org website, and on the website, you will find much more.
Yes, on the website, we have all the scientific publications, my father's publications, and also all the publications that have been funded by the Beljanski Foundation. You can research by organ, you can research by plant extracts, and you can download everything, share that with your doctor. If you don't have a doctor, you can also contact us, and we'll put you in touch with an integrative doctor who knows about those products. And on the website, you will also find all of our upcoming events, including the conference in San Diego, but there is much more.
And to our listeners, wherever you are on your health journey, may this conversation remind you of your resiliency and your hopefulness.